Well, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Pastor's Corner. My name is Ken Murphy, and what I'm going to be studying, what we're going to look at this morning, is Psalm 23. And I preached through this some years back when I was on vacation and I was on a plane and reading this book, A Shepherd's Look at Psalm 23. And it was such a life-changing time in my own life of just the beauty of communion and the trust and the confidence in the good shepherd. And Jesus tells us he is that good shepherd in John 10. So I've just been thinking through how much this has been blessing me through this time that we've been going through. And I want to journey Psalm 23 this morning in light of coronavirus and what we're facing as a church. So if you will journey with me in verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And a shepherd, the whole role is to protect and take care and feed and beat off enemies and all of these things. Is if you had a good shepherd, the sheep were at peace. And so because it says here Yahweh, God himself is our shepherd. And when we can get our arms around that and the fullness of it, I shall not want. I have everything that I need because God's my shepherd. I'm not going to be this empty person who is just always trying to find the next thing that I need to fill me, to make me happy. And the more I can dive in and go deeper into this reality that Yahweh himself is my shepherd because of the work of Jesus Christ, now I'm in his favorable presence, and all of his care and shepherding and concern is for me. And as I live and understand that, I'm just not going to be a big bag of wants. And I need this, I got to have this, because a lot of our wants have been taken away and removed even during this time. So it's a good test to see what is it that satisfies me, and am I drawn near to the good shepherd. And as I'm finding more and more fullness in him during this time, I'm just finding less and less wants. And I just love this, as the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. And when we studied this, it was really a blessing to me to learn that a sheep could never lie down in green grass until everything was taken care of, until they felt peace. They weren't skittish. They weren't afraid. They were fed. Everything was taken care of. And so now these sheep could finally lay down. And so during a time like this, there's so many pressures and different thoughts and concerns and fears of the future. And they're all around, and they can produce anxiety. They can steal our sleep. And when we grow and walk in this, that the Lord is my shepherd, I can put my head on my pillow and I can sleep peacefully because I'm so safe in the good shepherd's hands. And he's taken care of every need that I have. He's taken care of my sin and my standing before him. And he's a father who cares for his children. He shepherds me. He's got my past taken care of, my sins. He's a present shepherd to me. And my future is I'm going to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And as I just keep realizing who my shepherd is and how well he's cared for me, I can rest. I can lay down in turbulent times. And so there's like, I call it the eye of the storm. Because he's my shepherd, with everything spinning all around me, there's this place that we can lie down in green pastures with the Lord and because of the Lord. And he leads me beside quiet waters. And so we looked at the majority of where water came for sheep back in the Middle East was through the water that would come in the early morning. And so they would go and they would feed on the dew in early. And so it's this idea of coming to the Word of God in the first fruits, the early hours, to come and drink the Good Shepherd, to drink up Christ. And so this is a time where a lot of us don't have the same commute that we used to have, or maybe we do, but a time to seek him early, to come and drink up the Word of God and let it satisfy our soul and help us, and to set our focus and commune with the Good Shepherd in these days, to stay close and feeding on his word and letting him speak to us and show us himself in the word of God. So more than ever, we need to be a people who are hungering and thirsting for righteousness through this word. He restores my soul. And that was interesting that a sheep could literally, if they fell over, they can't get up. And they would be stuck, and they would begin to lose circulation. And if they weren't helped, they would just eventually lay there and die. And so in our journey is we can get cast, it was called, to be cast, to be stuck. And in the Christian life, in our journeys, we can become cast sheep, and we've fallen over, and I can't get up, and I need help, and I'm struggling, and this has been a really difficult time, and we face some very hard things, and some of us might be cast. And this is a time where we come to the Good Shepherd, and we need him to come and put us back on our feet and just hold us to let the circulation begin to go again so we can go about with our daily lives. And so he restores my soul. He leads me back. He gets me back in the sweet place of loving him, walking, looking to him, looking to my future hope and glory. And so if you've been cast during these difficult days, there's a good shepherd who will come and put us back on our feet. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And so this good shepherd will continue to guide us how to walk in a way that is pleasing to him and glorifies him. And so I need the good shepherd to lead me into the paths of righteousness. I've learned again and again in my Christian life, I can't lead myself into the paths of righteousness. And so I just live in this constant state. Apart from the good shepherd, I can do nothing. I can't walk in righteous paths. And so in humility, I keep coming. God, I want to walk pleasing to you during a time like this. I want to shine forth how sufficient it is to have you as a good shepherd. I want people to see righteousness. I want to love others like I've never loved them before. I don't want to close into my own resources to take care of myself and make sure I'm okay. I want to run like never before to fulfillment of the whole law, to love God and to love others. And so I want to be led in these paths of righteousness more than ever. And then even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Why? For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And so some of us have had to walk into the shadow of the valley of death. I think of a dear family in our church just recently. We're all four caught the coronavirus, and of course our dear sister Jeannie who went to the sweetest place ever. But we've had to look and wrestle with our own mortality. It's happening all around us in this whole world in our day-to-day lives. And there's a way with the Good Shepherd that I can go into the shadow valley. I can realize I could get sick and I could die from this and I could bury loved ones from this. It's just a reality that is going on, and it's going to continue to go on during this season. And there's a way to enter into it. I'm not going to be afraid because he's with me. And I as a pastor, I have never seen more than when we are facing death and how near Christ comes to his people. I just can't tell you. I've seen it from people with great faith and small faith. And every time they're in that place of the shadow of the valley, the Good Shepherd comes and gives them a peace and a joy that sometimes they never even had in their full journey as a Christian. And so what I want is, because the sting of death has been taken away for the believer, that we have a Good Shepherd who's going to go right in to the shadow of the valley and bring us into the fullness of the glory of his kingdom and his bright light. And so this fear of death is I'm all alone. I'm in a hospital by myself. I'm in a house quarantined by myself, and I have suicidal thoughts, and I'm battling all these things. There's a Good Shepherd that I don't have to be afraid because he's with me. And he's going to guide me through these times, and he's going to lead me to higher ground through this trial and the different things that I'm facing. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and we have many enemies against us, against this kingdom and against the gospel, but even now a virus and just a lot of different thoughts on how to handle it. And so there's a lot of battles with enemies that you're feeling and what you're going through. And there's a way to just sit and be at peace and eat and sup and not be anxious and worried about all these different things. There's a peace that the Good Shepherd wants us to have in the midst of the threat of a pandemic, and to stay in it and to live in it. And this one I like the most is, you've anointed my head with oil and my cup overflows. And so one of the things that I learned in studying was that these sheep would go crazy from flies. They literally could almost make them go insane by the constant buzzing and going around them. And so what the shepherd would do is come and anoint their head with oil to keep the flies and mosquitoes and all the pests off of them. And so we kind of made the application as this is more the day-to-day annoyances, disturbances, the fact that the grocery stores are empty, toilet paper, all the different things that we've had to go through with jobs, and there's these things that aren't the shadow of the valley, but they're constant, and they're nuisances, and they're difficult. And this is where I see most believers come undone, where we've learned how to walk in the shadow of the valley. There's no fear in death. Christ has taken it away. But in the little day-to-day annoyances, we get irritated and frustrated, and we're just kind of just always off. And what the Good Shepherd is saying is, I can anoint your head with oil to where you can just stay in peace with the day-to-day disturbances that this being quarantined at home and with children and schedules and all the different nuances of mosquitoes and flies that are disturbing us. There's a way to stay at peace as we keep drawing near to the Good Shepherd. And then he says, surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life. And I kind of see this as the sheepdog that would keep the sheep in the fold from wandering away. And so what God is saying is, this word means to follow hard after. The Hebrew word meant to persecute, to go after something with intensity. And God is saying, I'm going to go after you with intensity the rest of your days. And these sheepdogs are called goodness and loving kindness, covenantal love. I'm gonna pursue you all the days of your life. So even now, there's a God with goodness and loving kindness keeping us in this place with the Good Shepherd and peace and laying down in green pastures. And so he's coming hard after us with goodness and loving kindness in these days. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, is where he's leading us. Even in this time, is this Good Shepherd. It's not just leading us to a happier life. He's leading us to dwell with him forever in the new heavens and the new earth. And so who can mind the journey when the road leads home? And this Good Shepherd is committed, and he's going to lead us to that sweet place. So I guess I close with the exhortation is, draw near to this Good Shepherd like never before, and commune and trust and seek his face and walk in his ways, and don't fear, and put your head down on those pillows and be at rest in your soul, because Christ has done everything necessary for life and godliness during a pandemic. So I love you guys, and I pray that Psalm 23 will be a ministry to your own heart and souls the way it has been to mine. God bless you.